So Trump's Russia stance in 2025, could this be a real turning point in U.S. Russia relations? Let's take a closer look at how things have been unfolding. Trump has for a long time tried to be friendly and maybe even friends with Vladimir Putin. I think I'd get along very well with Vladimir Putin. I don't know Putin, he said nice things about me. If we got along well, that would be good. Putin and I get along fine. We get along very well, that's a good thing, not a bad thing. But in recent days, Trump hasn't been just mad with Vladimir Putin. I was very disappointed with my call with President Putin. I was very disappointed. We get a lot of thrown at us by Putin for, you want to know the truth. Here's how Trump's talk about Vladimir Putin and his actions towards Russia have changed dramatically over the years. Do you like Vladimir Putin's comments about you? Sure. When people call you brilliant, it's always good, especially when the person heads up Russia. Donald Trump used to be kind of an admirer of Vladimir Putin. In the early days of his public life, Donald Trump's interactions and opinions about Russia began to take shape. As he entered the political arena, these early relations set the stage for how he would approach one of America's most complex foreign policy challenges. Or, if anything, he would say very nice things about the Russian president. The fact that you say you can get along with him, do you think I'll be able to get along with him? You think the day that you become president of the United States, he's going to change his mind on some of these key issues? Possibly. It's possible. I don't know, Matt, it's possible. When Trump first joined the political scene, he was pretty open about wanting to revive relation with Russia. Russia had already invaded Ukraine in 2014, and there was a lot of discussion in Washington about whether the U.S. should increase the pressure on Moscow, or if there should be a more conciliatory measure. And that was Trump's whole MO during the 2016 election, that Putin was not so much of a bad guy. Will I get along with him? I have no idea. I won't. Putin's a killer. A lot of killers. Got a lot of killers. Why you think our country is so innocent? Well, Democrats use this moment to basically caricature Trump as some sort of Russian puppet. From everything I see, has no respect for this person. Well, that's because he'd rather have a puppet as president of the state. But it became a kind of meme. We think you're the best candidate, the smartest candidate, no doubt. The Manurian candidates. I don't know what that means, but it sounds tremendous. So, as the dust settled, the conversation started shifting to election interference and the policies that would follow. People were genuinely concerned about how foreign influence could shape our democracy, and the debate over what to do next really took center stage. It was a turning point, honestly, for how we think about the integrity of our elections and the steps we might need to take to protect them going forward. So Putin leveraged Trump's sweet talk of Russia in order to flatter Trump. And U.S. intelligence shows, actually, including U.S. intelligence assessments during Trump's presidency, that Russia did interfere in the election, or at least tried to harm Hillary Clinton's campaign back in 2016. Trump refuses to even admit that point because, in his mind, it seems that to admit it would mean there's an asterisk on his 2016 election win. He said, I believe that President Putin really feels, and he feels strongly, that he did not meddle in our election. What he believes is what he believes. What I believe is that we have to get to work. But, interestingly, Trump was actually quite tough on Russia. There had been an increase of sanctions because of the Ukraine war, and Trump even was the first president to send offensive weapons in order to fight Russia in its war. So, there was already a seed in there where Trump did not like being called weak on Russia. And, Trump's 2024 messaging on Russia was a little different. As the 2024 campaign heated up, Trump's promises and his record on Russia came under even more scrutiny. Many supporters and critics alike questioned whether he had really delivered on his earlier pledges, or if those promises were still, unfulfilled. And Trump made this case that he could end the Russia-Ukraine war that had expanded dramatically during the Biden administration. If I'm president, I will have that war settled in one day, 24 hours. And it's been interesting to watch Trump in these first 6 months because he has been able to get a ceasefire in Gaza that did break, but he did also stop a growing fight between Pakistan and India. He also brokered a deal between the Democratic Republic of the Congo and Rwanda. But the one place he's still unable to make it happen is the one place he promised he could do quickly. And that was the Russia-Ukraine war. You've now been in office for 5 months and 5 days. Why have you not been able to end the Ukraine war? Because it's more difficult than people would have any idea. Vladimir Putin has been more difficult. So, as the situation drags on, frustration is definitely mounting in Washington. The administration starts to realize that their approach just isn't working the way they hoped. There's this shift in policy, as officials try to figure out how to respond to the ongoing conflict and mounting pressure at home. The mood is tense and everyone is looking for a way forward, but honestly, it's just not clear what the best move is. Trump keeps calling for a ceasefire and has even at one point put on Truth Social, Vladimir, stop. Putin has only responded with more missiles and more bombings of Ukraine, and that has clearly angered the president. I said, when are we going to end this, Vladimir? I've known him for a long time now. I said, when are we going to end this bloodshed, this bloodbath? It's a bloodbath. I was very unhappy with my call with President Putin, and it just seems like he wants to go all the way and just keep killing people. But what we're seeing now is Trump realizing that his efforts to end the war, that his own boast, that he could end the war because he knew both Putin and Zelensky well from his first term, that those boasts aren't panning out, and it is a promise he has not yet fulfilled, and his anger is spilling out into public. A lot of thrown at us by Putin for, you want to know the truth, he's very nice all the time, but it turns out to be meaningless. Does it portend some sort of radical policy shift where all of a sudden a Trump-led United States is going to pressure Russia in a way that it hasn't? That it's going to support Ukraine in a way that Trump has not yet done so? It's hard to know. But for right now, in this moment, Trump is as angry at Putin and at Russia that he's ever been. And that could make this quite the pivot point, not only for Trump's foreign policy but for Trump's presidency. Trump's evolving stance on Vladimir Putin and Russia, from admiration to frustration. Over the years, former United States President Donald Trump's views and rhetoric regarding Russian President Vladimir Putin and Russia have undergone a significant transformation. Initially marked by admiration and a desire for closer relations, Trump's tone has shifted dramatically in recent times, reflecting growing frustration and disappointment. When Trump first entered the political arena, he openly expressed a willingness to improve United States-Russia relations. During the 2016 presidential campaign, despite Russia's 2014 invasion of Ukraine, Trump suggested that he could get along well with Putin. He often praised Putin, highlighting the Russian leader's compliments towards him as a positive sign. Trump's approach was seen as a break from traditional United States policy, leaning towards a more conciliatory stance rather than increased pressure on Moscow. Trump's statements such as, "I think I'd get along very well with Vladimir Putin," and "we get along very well, that's a good thing, not a bad thing," underscored his belief that personal rapport could influence diplomatic outcomes. This approach, however, sparked criticism and accusations from opponents who caricatured Trump as overly friendly or even a puppet of Russia. Despite Trump's initial warmth, United States intelligence agencies confirmed Russian interference in the 2016 election, aimed at undermining Hillary Clinton's campaign. Trump consistently rejected these findings, maintaining that Putin denied meddling and that the focus should be on working together. Nevertheless, Trump's administration did impose sanctions on Russia and took notable steps such as sending offensive weapons to Ukraine, signaling a tougher stance than his rhetoric suggested. This duality highlighted the complexity of Trump's Russia policy, balancing personal diplomacy with geopolitical realities. In his 2024 presidential campaign, Trump positioned himself as a potential peacemaker capable of ending the Russia-Ukraine conflict swiftly. He claimed he could settle the war in 1 day, 24 hours, leveraging his purported good relationships with both Putin and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. While Trump has brokered ceasefires and peace deals in other global conflicts such as in Gaza and between the Democratic Republic of the Congo and Rwanda, the Ukraine war remains unresolved. His inability to deliver on this promise has led to visible frustration. Recent interactions between Trump and Putin have been marked by disappointment. Trump openly expressed dissatisfaction with a phone call with Putin, lamenting the ongoing bloodshed and accusing Putin of prolonging the conflict. His public messages, including social media posts urging Putin to stop, reflect a stark departure from his earlier conciliatory tone. Trump's frustration is palpable as he acknowledges the complexity of ending the war and Putin's intransigence. This shift raises questions about whether Trump's current anger could signal a new, tougher United States policy towards Russia if he returns to office. Trump's evolving stance, from admiration to frustration, illustrates the challenges of United States-Russia diplomacy amid ongoing conflict. While it remains unclear if this shift will translate into a fundamental policy change, the current moment could be a turning point in how Trump approaches Russia and supports Ukraine. As the situation develops, observers will be watching closely to see if Trump's public anger leads to increased pressure on Russia or a re-evaluation of his previous positions. Stay tuned to Pulse News Channel for the latest updates and in-depth analysis on global political developments.